Growing up in McPherson, all of you have probably heard the term basketball a few more times than you've ever wanted. So instead of just hearing about basketball, I'm going to teach you a few things that you probably didn't know before. I'm going to start with Dr. James Naismith and what he contributed to the game, then move on to the progression of basketball, and finish with how basketball players are more than just basketball players. So starting with Dr. James Naismith, he created the game in 1991 in Springfield, Massachusetts, as a way for his football players to get conditioning. He took 2 peach baskets out of a janitor's closet and hung them at both ends of the gymnasium to make baskets, and they hung at 10 feet. He then created 13 rules, and of those 13 rules consist of things such as the score and what a foul was, but what it didn't consist of was how many people could play the game. He experimented with up to 50 people playing on each team at once, but usually they played 9-on-9 as his PE class consisted of 18 players. Finally, in 1897, they established that only 5 players could play on each team. With that rule being established, substitutions became a question. They wanted more people to be able to play, so in 1945 they established that anybody could sub into the game at any time. After that, they started moving on to changing the game. Different from his peach basket, they created a cast iron rim with a nylon net. This benefited the game and made it more efficient, as the ball would actually go all the way through the goal instead of just sitting in the basket and having to be removed after every made field goal. After that came the backboard. It started as a wire mesh backboard, which was to keep the fans from interfering with the ball going into the basket, but it eventually became a glass backboard and was used as a tool to actually make the ball into the hoop. Then came out of bounds. Usually they just used the walls of the gymnasium as out of bounds, but eventually in 1904 they developed a court with 4 out of bounds lines. And the crazy thing about out of bounds was when it first was originated, the first person to touch the ball after it went out of bounds was the team that received the ball. And so they had to create a cage around the entire court so that the ball would never enter the crowd. And this helped with the speed of the game and kept brawls from occurring between the players and the fans. Basketball is a game that has progressed over time as its players have progressed. For example, these players are a lot different than these players. It's a game that has had over 100 rules and that have had to been added. And for example, Wilt Chamberlain is a big cause for those. First off, they had to add the lane violation because of him, because instead of shooting free throws, he would just run and dunk it from the free throw line. So they had the lane violation, so he actually had to shoot his free throws. Another thing that was added because of him was goaltending. Nobody would ever be able to make a shot when he was in the game because he would just block it before it would go in. And so they added goaltending so they could actually shoot. And another thing that they added was in 1967 they added a no dunking rule because of the things that happened like this occurred, and it would slow down the game and cause it to be rescheduled. So they implemented the no dunking rule from 1967 through 1977. Also in 1977, they added a 3-point line. The 3-point line was added for smaller players like this, so they actually had an ability to score instead of going into the paint, where they were just going to get their shot blocked by the taller defenders. And outside of just the rule changes, basketball has changed in how they dress. This was changed in 1991 by a group of Michigan freshmen known as the Fab Five. Instead of wearing the short shorts and tall white socks, they started wearing long shorts and black socks, which was completely different, and several generations would follow after them. Now, NBA players are seen as icons, and fans can be seen wearing their jerseys to support who their favorite players are. There are even super fans like this that can't get enough of wearing their jerseys, so they decide they need it on their body permanently. And video games are also a big part of basketball now and are a way to play the game without actually playing the game. So in learning today about basketball, I taught you about Dr. James Naismith and what he contributed to the game, the progression of basketball over time, and how players are more than just players. So even though none of us look like this, we at least know about the game and can attempt to play it. Thank you.